Bright, bold, and brilliant are three words that I would use to describe the Hooli culture. A culture very different from our own, but extraordinary in their own way, which is something that I hope to appreciate through this presentation, their extraordinariness in their own way. So this presentation will focus on the Hooli individuals, their values, and how they communicate. So the first part that I wanted to get into with this presentation was the basis of their culture, because I chose this culture because I wanted to learn more about a culture I hadn't yet been exposed to, and the Hooli culture is one I have yet to be exposed to. And so I think a very strong basis in their culture will help give us a better understanding when we're talking about their communication. So when it comes to leadership in the Hooli culture, there isn't one designated leader, but many individuals who can be a leader. When a situation arises where a leader is deemed to be needed, somebody in their tribe can step up to be the leader. But when the situation is no longer needed, they're not a leader anymore. So there isn't really a set leader at all points in times. There's only one when there needs to be one. The next part that I think is important to understand about their culture is that the Hooli culture is animist. So animist means that they, they believe in objects, places, and creatures possess spiritual essence. And so this definitely shapes their view of the world and how they interact with different things. And I think this is an important part to understand because it changes how they communicate with not only somebody like me and you, but also an animal. Which this kind of led me to presume that they might be a vegetarian-based culture. However, their diet includes yams, quinoa, which is like a potato, but a little bit different, and pigs on special occasions, which pigs are an important part of their culture. Pigs are actually used as a form of money and trade in their culture. So pigs have great value to their culture, and it was something that I wasn't expecting. And this kind of leads me into their rituals, because this is a big basis and part of their culture. They have 30 different rituals that they perform in different circumstances that have arise. And so all of them, though, genuinely center around connecting people back to nature, and some of them do include animal sacrifice, and that is of those. So now that we have learned a little bit more about who they are, let's look into what they value. So according to Kavanaugh, I'm not sure how you say that, in NWU, there isn't a Hofstad value for the Hooli tribe, and there isn't a Hofstad value for Papua New Guinea, which is where the tribe resides. And so between their paper and paper of Ugal and Maria, I have came up with what I would assume to be or hypothesize their values. So this is just an educated guess. It's nothing set in stone. So I perceive that they would be more collectivistic than individualistic. I say this because they aren't about those like individual promotions like we are in the United States. They're more about bonding together, and they're more about bonding together and being together, and I think that also is shown in their leadership values. They're more masculine than feminine, so men have a lot more responsibilities within the culture and a lot more opportunities for power, whereas women are mainly gardeners and mothers. For uncertainty avoidance, they really do not take a lot of risk. They have a lot of measures to take when risk may come into play to hope for the best. For power distance, it's very low. They don't really have a leader all of the time, and so power isn't really a thing that is big in their culture. Time perspective was a little bit hard for me to come up with an estimate on. It wasn't something that was talked about a lot, so I don't really have a good guess for this one. And as far as indulgent or restraint, they're more of a restraint culture. Pigs are special occasions. It's all based off of situations and circumstances that they're under and not just because. So for their communication, I think it's important to note that they were not discovered until 1934, and when they were discovered, they were met with violence. 50 Huli people were killed in the interaction, but according to Hunt, they were believed to exist for about 1,000 years before this. And so this definitely changed their interaction with outside cultures to their own, because they were first met with a lot of violence. And part of like their culture is connecting back to nature. And so I don't think it's surprising to learn that they're the least developed region of Papua New Guinea, but they're also the largest tribe of Papua New Guinea, ranging between 90,000 to 250,000 people. They primarily speak Huli, but they do like to connect with other individuals, with other cultures, and they do like go outside of where their tribe is located. So they also speak commonly Tuk in English. And so this allows them to connect with other cultures, and they're able to communicate. And I think that is interesting. So the course concept that I picked is cultural relativism. So cultural relativism is assessing a culture without comparing it to another, according to Lunin. So I picked this one because I think when I'm trying to learn about another culture that's different from my own, I often learn about it by seeing how it's different from mine. And so when I was going through and reading about the Huli culture, I was really trying to appreciate them for who they are and what they have to offer, instead of comparing it to myself and the United States, because that is the culture that I am used to. But the Huli culture is the culture that they're used to, and the activities and things I do may seem abnormal to them. And so what I really got from this assessment from them is kind of my reasoning behind why I wanted to pick them and why I wanted to use them, is because the Huli people are known for their fearlessness and their bravery. And that bravery and boldness and brilliance that I've talked about during this speech is something that I wanted to learn a lot more about, and hope I was able to share with you, because I think right now we're at a time where a little bit more bravery would be helpful. So thank you for listening to my presentation on the Huli people. These are my references that I used throughout the speech. Have a great night.